Welcome back to News here on the Rise News. Now, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has condemned the degradation of Nigeria's traditional institution, attributing the infiltration of criminals, drug addicts, bandits, and kidnappers into royal thrones as a significant cause. He made this statement in his recent book, Nigeria, Past and Future, released to mark his 88th birthday. Obasanjo lamented that the once esteemed traditional leadership, known for its dignity and respect, has been tainted, citing incidents of monarchs engaging in acts like election fraud. He expressed regret over the loss of the high moral standing and leadership qualities seen in the colonial and early post-independent eras, stressing that the current state of affairs has worsened Nigeria's socio-political issues. The former president called for urgent reforms to restore the lost honor of traditional rulers, suggesting they could be pivotal in the country's development if they regain their former role as respected figures of authority. Now, to discuss further, let's bring in Dayo Sobowale to talk about former President Olusegun Obasanjo's thoughts about traditional ruler and the institution here in Nigeria. I want to say thank you very much. Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure being here as usual.
All right, let's get it started. Obasanjo, shooting straight and not missing at all. He has said that the traditional institution leaves a lot to be desired. Talk to us about this.
Well, it's not only the traditional institution, the religious institution too. And because if you are talking of traditional institution, that is almost an anachronism. But you see, you have the religious institutions, you get me now, being targeted by Western civilization in terms of cultural values. So really it is a cultural war. I'm happy as I highlighted it, although from the angle of traditional institutions. If you dwell on traditional institutions, we will see many new traditional monarchs now are Western-oriented. They just came back from the US, and they have dollars, and literally they buy their way into the throne. So that is debasing our values. But then, you see, this issue revolves around moral, cultural values. And we are under some invasion from the West now, mainly in terms of sexual orientation. Let me make bold to tell you this, that even in global diplomacy, the divide between China, Russia, and the US and Western Europe is cultural. It is cultural. It has reached a stage when people sit on the same table, and you discover that the man talking to you is wife to another man from another nation. That is bound to affect discussion. That is happening worldwide. Even in the US, that was what made Trump to win the election. And his first proclamation was that marriage is between a man and a woman. And there are two sexes, male and female. You see, it has happened to us here in the past, in the Anglican Church, when they were ordaining gay priests. Gay priests. See, the Nigerian leaders of the Anglican communion were bold enough to tell them, no, it's not in the Bible. And they left. Even some US Anglican churches are under the Nigerian church because of that sexual, cultural demarcation. So it is a very important thing that Obasanjo has said. And what it means is that we should go back to protecting our African values and prevent it being infiltrated and overtaken by Western sexual orientation tendencies, which the US government is trying to put a halt to, and which we have inadvertently taken over. Because if you talk, I've spoken to some church leaders, my own friends, they are saying that sexual orientation does not matter. It does. Culture matters. African values matter. Let's leave it at that for now.
Oh, it's good to hear your different stance this on Monday. Last week, I remember you saying that Obasanjo should let this administration breathe on that subject matter that we discussed.
This is not about this
I know, but I
just want to bring it up.
I want to bring it up, yes. I just want to.
About this
I know, but I appreciate the fact that you're seeing reason with what he's saying. But, Mr. Sobowale, can moral reawakening succeed without addressing the systemic corruption that has historically benefited the political elite?
Look, sexual orientation is different from corruption. Corruption is a part of our political culture. That is why there's nowhere in the world don't have corruption. That's why criminality comes in, and you have law enforcement taking care of that. So it's not peculiar to us. But what I'm saying, don't run away from that.
Okay.
There is cultural divide in the world. It's a cultural divide. And you have to be aware of it before you are sucked in. Get me? Our African tradition and values, which is the sum total of the multi-ethnicity of the Nigerian nation. We believe family is there. We believe the husband is the head of the family. There must be discipline. You must not steal, just like it is in the Ten Commandments. All these values, you see, have been eroded on the strength of freedom and human rights and promotion of minority rights at the expense of the larger society. Even the Pope almost gave his blessing to same-sex marriage until Nigerian Catholic bishops say, no, it's not part of our culture, and they have to relent. Let us be aware there is a cultural invasion in terms of invasion which is, eating at our culture just because we believe European values are the criteria to measure modernity. That's a false criteria. It is a false criterion. So let's try to look back, like Obasanjo said, to the standards we expect from traditional rulers and the traditional standards they must conform to before becoming kings. You get me? And on the corruption, we minimize their effect. Most of them give money to the kingmakers, and at the end of the day, you discover the person who has not even lived there comes over. It is not peculiar to any religion, because even right now, you have born-again people becoming kings. How will they deal with traditional institutions?
No, but
you can't eat your cake and have it.
No, speaking about that, why don't, if we're to focus on the traditional institutions?
We are now.
Yes. Some would say that at this moment in time, you look at how things are playing out, politics has also contributed a huge factor in destabilizing and watering down political institutions. Some of these royal stools used to be very exalted, but we've seen politics over the years and governors, sole administrators, let me even stretch it that far back, sole administrators, governors being used to destabilize political institutions, because a governor, like we've seen...
Traditional institutions.
Yes, traditional institutions, yes.
You said political.
No, sorry, I beg your pardon, traditional institutions.
Right.
Like, of course, the most recent case has to be what is happening in Kano. In time past, that was sacrilege, and that would never happen. But we've seen that happen time and time again, not just in Kano State, but across Nigeria, whereby the governors can, as much as possible, hire and fire a political leader. I mean, a traditional leader.
Okay, my comment on that is simple. The selection of traditional rulers have always been subject to the sanction of governors. You get me? And in recent times, see, I don't want to mention any particular town, because there's one going on right now in the southwest. You see, the choice of the governor matters. If the governor is somebody who respects the institution, he will follow the laid-down procedure and involve the traditional kingmakers in the area. But see, in many instances, most governors seize the opportunity that there's a vacancy in their time, and they influence who gets there.
True.
And again, you see, I've mentioned one thing before, that we have been Americanized politically and traditionally and religiously. Go and look at the recent new traditional rulers. They came from abroad. They were not resident here. And they bought the throne, literally. That should stop. That's the sort of thing Obasanjo, he should know, that's the sort of thing he's trying to say. That if we allow people to roughen up our traditional institutions, then our values will decay. Our values will decay. And we will not even respect the traditional rulers, which means our decadence goes on. Because the Europeans we look up to, we value their assessment. They are moving away from family values. They are saying there is no sex. And even amongst themselves, they are drawing a line. So we should be able to draw a line. Listen to him.
All right, Mr. Sobowale, I like how you're echoing your approval of what former President Obasanjo has raised. But when it comes to this call for moral reawakening, do you think he addressed all the aspects that are crucial, or are there some aspects that you think are worth addressing in addition to what he stated?
He addressed all the issues.
So what's missing?
He doesn't have time for that. He has said some things. Let us think on that. He has a PhD in theology, in case you do not know.
I'm asking what you think might... Okay, since of course he didn't address everything, so
what he has said is what is important.
Okay.
That they are hoodlums, bandits, kidnappers, drug peddlers, holding traditional institutions, and we should make sure such things do not happen.
All right.
So an appeal.
Okay.
I want to say thank you very much for your time here on Tuesday today.